Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Friday, October 31st. A very happy Halloween to all of you out there and to all those kids trick-or-treating. There's some candy for my door a little bit later. See you guys around the way. The Pittsburgh Steelers have their final practice of Week 9 at UPMC Marine Sports Complex. Me, Ed Thompson, Brendan Howe, all there later today. More on that with me and Smitty on the afternoon drive. And hopefully our audio visual issues from last night are resolved. I don't know what that was or what that was caused by, but things here seem to be going fairly well. So let's hope, knock on wood, that they stay that way. Today I want to talk about, as I usually do on a Friday before a game, a matchup. Last week I talked about the Pittsburgh Steelers and their defense and the matchup with Tucker Kraft. And that went, well, on the poor side of what I thought was possible. And now here we have the Indianapolis Colts coming to town, who have, a different set of weapons. I don't think their receivers are as good as the Patriots. I don't think Daniel Jones is as good as Jordan Love, but they have Jonathan Taylor, which is a big deal. And they also have Tyler Warren, who is every bit as good as Tucker Kraft, one of the top young playmakers at the tight end position in the NFL. Rookie out of Penn State is having a fantastic season. He is another, like Kraft, guy who can beat you with a run after the catch, in addition to, doing some kind of Jonnu Smith things out of the backfield, things of that nature. So I wanted to look at the way the Steelers defended, or whatever you want to call it, that they did against Tucker Kraft, because defending wasn't really on the menu, and see what worked and what didn't, basically, to look at how they were able to defend him and how they weren't able to defend him, and see if there's a way that I think they can slow down Tyler Warren. Now, usually when you think about defending the kind of tight end that Tucker Kraft is, I would say fairly comparable to like the way you defend a Pat Freiermuth. Like, to me, these are man-to-man players you want to man up against. They're not incredible athletes. They're not guys that can run away from you or make you look stupid for putting an athletic linebacker on man-to-man coverage. I would think a player like Patrick Queen or Peyton Wilson or a safety like Deshaun Elliott should be able to man those guys up pretty well. That was not the case for the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. And there were 12 man coverage routes run by Tucker Kraft in that game. He was covered by Queen 4 times, Elliott 3 times, Wilson 3 times, and once each by Joey Porter and Chuck Clark. On those, 12 routes, he was targeted 6 times. He caught 5 passes. They included a touchdown and the 59-yard play down the sideline against Deshaun Elliott, plus another 33-yarder. In total, it's well over 100 yards on 12 routes. Routes, not passes, routes. On the other hand, in zone coverage, the Steelers did much better. They had him in zone coverage 17 times. He was targeted 3. He caught 2 passes. One of them was one of his touchdowns, but for just 24 yards. It seemed like in zone, they did a much better job of dealing with Kraft than when they tried to man him. Elliott gave up the big play for 59 yards. Queen gave up one for 33. Clark gave up the touchdown for 24. Porter gave up one for 7. Wilson gave up one for 2. In zone, it was Cole Holcomb giving up one for a 16-yard touchdown, and Joey Porter one for an 8-yard play. You can't always dictate who you're going to cover a guy with in zone. That's part of the problem, right? Is that he can just run somewhere else, and then whoever you intended to have on him, maybe you don't. But I thought the Steelers did a nice job in general, and a lot of their issues with zone coverage in this game were just guys not paying attention. In fact, I think the one play here, where it's not a completion to him, but it's a big play, is like there's a play where you just see Peyton Wilson running to a spot and running right past his guy. Juan Thornhill in a coverage disguise is like looking like he's going to be the high safety in cover 1. Instead, he's got one of the flat hooks in cover 3, and he's running right past the receiver as the ball is thrown. It's like a lack of awareness of what's happening. A lot of these where I saw some zones where it was cover 3 and guys were just carrying, the underneath players were carrying players way too deep, and you have these back defenders like waiting, like, hey, like where's my guy? Like, come off him. And then you have these checkdowns that are wide open because the underneath zone players are 10, 15 yards downfield. And it's like their rules and their details and their fundamentals in these zone coverages is bad. But for whatever reason, it worked against Kraft. Now, I'm not saying it worked against the whole rest of the Packers offense. Nothing worked against the whole rest of the Packers offense. But I do think, from what I looked like, they might be a little better suited to be playing zone underneath than man. And the other part of that is, they blitz a lot when they play man. They mostly play man free, which is a single high safety. I think 2-man would be a better way for them to go about their business. 2 high safeties plus man coverage underneath. But then, in 2-man, you have a light box and you have Jonathan Taylor. So that's not going to work. So if you're going to play zone, then, to me, this is the game where, unfortunately, I think traditional old Steelers country cover 3 looks like the best option, except that Shane Steichen has just picked it apart ruthlessly over the last 3 games. So I've come here to tell you, I don't know that there's an answer. And we're going to give a prediction here on the podcast later today, me, Smitty, and DB on Afternoon Drive. But I went back and looked at that tape looking for a way the Steelers can solve Tyler Warren. And while I think they can minimize specifically his impact, I don't know how they do it in the concept of the rest of the defense and what's been happening to it and what Shane Steichen has been doing to it for a number of years. All right. On that depressing note, happy Halloween. A haunting opponent for the Pittsburgh Steelers this Sunday, so maybe it's appropriate. More on the Afternoon Drive when we'll give our predictions as well as the latest from practice today. Until then, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.